Dear Chosen One, the thrones of this world are gilded with deception. Governments veil their allegiance to darkness behind words of service and unity. They promise safety while feeding fear, legislate morality while worshiping power, preach progress while poisoning truth. Yet heaven watches, unmoved, preparing to unveil the hidden covenant that sustains their empire. And in that unveiling, every illusion will burn, and every false light will flicker out before the dawn of justice. You were not created to bow before men who bow to evil. The spirit within you was forged for divine sovereignty, not for subjugation. When the world commands obedience, heaven calls for remembrance. You are not a citizen of corruption, but an heir of eternity. The system trembles when you awaken, for the moment your eyes open to truth, their spell begins to break. Chains forged by deception melt before the flame of divine awareness that now ignites within your soul. For ages, darkness has hidden itself in robes of virtue. It spoke through leaders, ruled through laws, and camouflaged control as compassion. But the Eternal One will not remain silent. The curtain is being torn from top to bottom. The contracts of deception are dissolving. Every false promise will face the light of exposure, and those who built their power on secrecy will watch it crumble. This is not the end of nations. It is the purification of creation by divine fire. Chosen One, this word finds you for a reason. It is your sign. Let your spirit answer now. Like this message, subscribe to the channel, and share it so others awaken with you. Write in the comments, "I see truth." Speak it as prophecy over your own life. And if your heart seeks to build both spiritual and material abundance, access the ebook, The Call to Prosperity, in the description. The time of revelation has begun, and heaven is calling you to stand in the light. Chosen One, the illusion of servanthood has ruled humanity for centuries. Men in suits call it leadership, yet the heavens see slavery. True governance was never meant to control through fear or manipulate with promises. The darkness replaced purpose with policy, conscience with compliance. But what they cannot command is the fire of awareness rising in the hearts of those who remember who they are. Their dominion ends where divine identity begins. Every law built upon deception carries decay within it. It looks solid, but it trembles before the gaze of truth. When leaders abandon righteousness for influence, corruption germinates like a hidden seed. Chosen One, you were sent as the wind of awakening to scatter those seeds and expose what grows in secrecy. You are not an observer of collapse. You are the breath that accelerates it. Governments worship the illusion of order, but God calls for the restoration of truth. The deception is deep, yet not eternal. Systems that deny the Creator's justice eventually implode under the weight of their own lies. The world fears chaos, but the divine fire that burns now is not destruction. It is cleansing. Through revelation, righteousness returns, and the counterfeit light fades into silence. Those who built their power upon manipulation have already lost it in the spiritual realm. What remains visible is the ghost of authority, not its essence. They operate by control because they no longer understand service. But heaven measures hearts, not hierarchies. The moment the awakened rise, their structures lose breath, for truth needs no permission to govern. Chosen One, the darkness no longer hides behind politics. It hides behind compassion. It speaks of unity to divide, of peace to enslave, of progress to corrupt. The enemy disguises oppression in empathy and sells decay as development. The wise must see beyond tone and title, discerning the spirit behind every promise. The battle now is perception, and your sight is your weapon. You are not here by coincidence. The Spirit positioned you at the edge of revelation. Signs unfold daily. The exposure of leaders, the shaking of foundations, the unraveling of narratives once believed unbreakable. It is not random. It is prophetic. This collapse is the hand of God reclaiming His creation. The storm is not punishment. It is purification. When truth invades falsehood, reality trembles. The world feels the tremor of awakening, mistaking it for destruction. But destruction is only the death of illusion. Each institution that falls makes room for divine order to rise. The chosen stand steady, not because they are immune, but because they already died to deception. Do not fear exposure, for exposure is mercy. When light touches darkness, it offers the chance to heal. God does not reveal to shame, but to restore. The hidden shall be brought to light so that hearts may return to alignment with truth. There is no freedom without revelation, no peace without confrontation. This is the divine sequence of deliverance. Chosen one, remember Moses before Pharaoh. Power without light always fears what is pure. The same spirit that hardened Pharaoh's heart dwells in every ruler who rejects righteousness. Yet the outcome has never changed. Light wins. The river may turn red, but redemption flows afterward. Those who oppose the will of heaven only make its fulfillment inevitable. You are standing in the beginning of a massive unveiling. The world is exhausting its lies. The stronghold of deceit, polished by centuries of manipulation, is now cracking. Angels move in silence, and the law of heaven is already in effect. Those who thought themselves untouchable are facing spiritual accountability. The stage of pretense is closing. Discernment has become your shield. No longer believe every smiling face or poetic speech. Test the spirit behind every voice. If it seeks control, it is not light. If it silences truth, it is darkness. Let your intuition, born of the divine, guide every decision. For the enemy now fights not with violence, but with confusion. And clarity is the sword that defeats him. Understand this: you were born into a generation of unveiling. Your life is not accidental. It is prophetic design. Every trial you survived trained your eyes to see through illusion. You are the answer hidden in plain sight, the living prophecy set in motion by divine will. The systems shake because they feel your presence. You are revelation incarnate. The time will come soon when deception can no longer sustain itself. Lies demand belief to survive, and belief is collapsing. That is why fear is increasing, for fear is the final strategy of control. But he who walks with truth walks in invincibility. The awakening cannot be reversed, only resisted by those doomed to fade in the light they rejected. Chosen one, your task is not rebellion, but revelation. You do not fight darkness by shouting at it, you outshine it. The true revolution begins in consciousness. Each time you choose truth over comfort, you dethrone a false king within and without. Do not underestimate your influence. Heaven's army is invisible but unstoppable, and you are its voice upon the earth. Darkness fears only exposure, because exposure dissolves its foundation. For ages, the rulers of this world have disguised oppression as order and power as peace. They draw strength from secrecy and keep nations asleep through distraction and entertainment. Yet God is awakening the collective consciousness of His people. The illusions once used to pacify humanity are crumbling, and the whispers of heaven are growing louder than the propaganda of men. The systems cannot hold when truth stands upright within you. Governments will speak of unity, but build portals of division. They will promise inclusion while exalting idols that desecrate the sacred image of the Creator. That duality is the signature of evil. A speech coated in compassion, yet birthed in cold manipulation. The chosen ones are not fooled by smiles or symbols, for they read the unseen currents of spirit beneath appearances. When the heart walks with discernment, it cannot be seduced by eloquence. This is why awakening terrifies them, because seeing shatters their control. You must understand the mechanics of their empire, chosen one. It survives through agreement. Your silent consent sustains their false dominion. They cannot rule without your belief, so they craft illusions to win allegiance. Every distorted truth you reject weakens their structure. Your consciousness is not a spectator. It is a weapon of divine rebellion. When light occupies your perception, darkness suffocates. You break their authority not through revolt, but through awareness, the most feared power of all. The spiritual war of this time is fought not with weapons, but with words, intentions, and vibrations. Every declaration of truth demolishes walls unseen to the ordinary eye. The prayers of the righteous are not whispers. They are decrees that reverberate across realms. Heaven has placed its generals in human form, scattered within the chaos, camouflaged as ordinary souls. You are one of them, planted where corruption festers, commissioned to disturb its comfort with the radiance of truth. This is holy infiltration. The enemy's strategy is not violence first, it is confusion. When minds are fractured, nations can be guided like cattle to the slaughter. Disinformation is their altar, and ignorance their offering. But the Spirit of God equips His chosen with the rarest of weapons, clarity. To see reality as heaven sees it is to stand invincible, for no deception can penetrate revelation. This clarity makes you immune to fear, and fearlessness is fatal to tyranny. The false order of this world is made of words stitched with deceit. They draft visions of equality, but operate through hierarchy. They vow transparency, yet move in shadows. Their every promise is a mirror reflecting the opposite intent. Chosen one, you were never meant to depend on such leadership. Within you resides the law of heaven, written not in books, but in light. When you act from that inner covenant, even the mightiest thrones tremble. Watch how time accelerates now. Prophecies unfold not in centuries, but in days. The exposure of corruption will multiply. The fall of leaders will seem chaotic, but it is divine order in disguise. The Spirit rearranges nations as easily as sand beneath the tide. Remain centered, chosen one, for the storm is alignment, not destruction. Those who stand in truth will inherit stability. The rest will flee from a reality they can no longer manipulate. You will see alliances forged to resist the light, world powers uniting to preserve the illusion. But they will not stand, for they are building on spiritual rot. Their foundations are pride and greed, and these cannot coexist with divine truth. When the fire of revelation descends, even institutions centuries old will fracture. This is not punishment. It is the mercy of God dismantling deception so humanity can breathe again. Every crumble you witness is heaven's construction underway. The true government is not built on earth, but in hearts aligned with divine will. Its constitution is integrity. Its currency is truth. Its ruler is love. When enough souls awaken to that inner kingdom, earthly power loses its grip. You, chosen one, are an ambassador of this incorruptible realm. Your presence on this planet is a declaration that heaven's rule has returned. The governments of men pretend sovereignty, but light governs silently through the awakened. Do not confuse exposure with defeat. What collapses is not righteousness, it is pretense. The revelation you witness is the divine audit of ages, where every false balance is weighed and corrected. Nothing birthed outside the light will endure this season. The Spirit is issuing a global summons: return to truth or be dismantled by it. Chosen one, hold fast, for you were born to see this shaking. Your generation will remember this era not as destruction, but as deliverance. When night grows darker, it is only because the dawn is near. The outcry of the suffering, the cries of the oppressed, and the silent prayers of the faithful have reached heaven's court. The response of heaven is never chaos, it is revelation. And revelation always begins as disruption. What you see as disorder is heaven rewriting the script. Stay still in faith, for while the world panics, God is promoting you through alignment with His purpose. There will come a moment when every secret agenda is dragged into plain sight. Emails, records, networks, all unveiled. Yet the greater exposure will be internal. Souls stripped naked before their own conscience. That is the final judgment before the physical collapse. God does not punish to destroy, He reveals to liberate. When falsehood meets truth, there is only one outcome: surrender or silence. The proud will choose silence, the humble redemption. Chosen one, remember this truth. The same system that mocks your faith secretly fears your existence. The awakened cannot be fully controlled. They are too luminous to be deceived. Every time you choose to act from spiritual truth instead of societal pressure, you puncture the veil of the establishment's illusion. You are the prophecy they dreaded. Their strategies fail not because you fight them, but because your awareness invalidates their influence. To rule with integrity is to serve the Spirit, not the crowd. To rule in darkness is to serve ego disguised as order. The difference lies in light. Nations will only heal when the leaders themselves submit to holiness. But until that day comes, heaven appoints His chosen as lights within the ruins. When governments kneel to the evil, the chosen rise to embody divine governance. The shift has already begun. You are the evidence that God still reigns within humanity. Every awakening begins with discomfort, and that is why the chosen ones are misunderstood. You feel the weight of lies, even when others celebrate them as progress. You see the cracks in the wall while the world paints over them with optimism. That sensitivity is your anointing, not your curse. You were designed to perceive what others deny. The unease you carry is divine compassion in disguise, calling you to heal what humanity refuses to confront. They will call you rebellious because you refuse to kneel before their idols of stability. Yet rebellion against corruption is obedience to heaven. Every prophet who ever walked the earth was accused of madness until history revealed their sanity. Do not seek approval. Seek alignment. The more truth stretches within you, the less comfortable falsehood will find your presence. To the blind, light is provocation, but to the weary, it is rescue. Chosen one, heaven does not ask you to destroy nations, but to awaken souls. The Spirit is more strategic than vengeance. Divine justice rebuilds even as it removes. When you speak truth, you invite reform, not ruin. Governments that repent may rebuild under righteousness. Those that resist will erode from within. You are not judge or executioner. You are herald and harbinger, the voice crying in the wilderness of modern civilization. The mark of true authority is service born of humility. But the darkness twisted service into subjugation. It taught leaders to posture as saviors while serving their own appetite. Yet divine leadership begins where ego ends. The chosen stand firm in unseen integrity, leading without crowns or cameras. Heaven promotes those who can carry power without corruption. You are being trained for governance beyond visibility, a kingdom not televised, but eternal. The systems of this world measure success by influence. Heaven measures it by impact. Influence fades when applause ends, but impact resonates beyond memory. You were not called to be popular, but potent. When your actions ripple through unseen dimensions, nations shift in silence. The world does not yet recognize your contribution because it still mistakes noise for power. Keep sowing truth. Heaven counts what humanity overlooks. In this season, deception hides under sophistication. The educated mock faith, the powerful mock morality, and the masses mock discernment. Yet it is the fool who appears wise when the world is upside down. True wisdom has become rebellion because falsehood reigns in the courts of prestige. But the Spirit is overturning altars of intellect built against divine understanding. Soon, what they mocked will become their only refuge. Do not underestimate your voice, chosen one. Words spoken from purity are spiritual lightning striking through deception. You may not stand in halls of government, yet your prayer room becomes a war chamber. Heaven moves at the breath of truth uttered by the righteous. When you declare alignment, angels execute instruction. The power of a single truthful heart outweighs a fortress of liars, because truth is self-sustaining. It needs no defense, only presence. The exposure will intensify. Those you once trusted as protectors will reveal their allegiance to corruption. Their fall will bruise your heart. But remember, revelation is medicine, not punishment. When hypocrisy collapses, holiness advances. It is better to mourn the fall of deception than to live comfortable in delusion. These next years will separate authenticity from illusion. The process will be painful, but necessary for rebirth. You may ask why heaven allows evil to reign so long. The answer is patience, not neglect. The Creator withholds wrath to allow awakening. Every delay in judgment is an invitation to repentance, not evidence of apathy. But when mercy expires, justice manifests swiftly. That time is near. The shaking you sense globally is the signal that divine patience has met its purpose. Heaven's verdict is in motion, unstoppable and pure. Remember, the enemy's greatest fear is exposure through love. Hate multiplies his narrative, but love dismantles it. To forgive what was revealed does not excuse the darkness. It frees you from its control. Your purity is poisonous to the corrupt. Your peace is their panic. Nothing confuses evil more than mercy rooted in revelation. You disarm deception not by rage, but by radiant composure born of divine certainty. The world will soon understand that leadership is a spiritual matter. When hearts corrupted by pride hold power, the results are decay disguised as progress. Every broken policy is a reflection of a broken conscience. This is why God calls the awakened to inner governance before outer change. The revolution begins inside, mastering thoughts, then systems. You cannot lead others out of chaos until peace governs within you. There is a storm above the nations, not of weather, but of energy. Waves of divine recalibration sweeping through the collective mind. Those anchored in truth will navigate these tides. Those bound to falsehood will drown in their own dissonance. You were not made to fear the shift. The storm exists to cleanse frequencies of deceit. The voice of God is in the thunder, calling his elect to ascend frequency and consciousness alike. Faith now becomes your strategy. The world will call it naive, yet heaven calls it intelligence. Fear makes decisions reactive. Faith makes them prophetic. As deception collapses, your peace will become your testimony. You are the calm in the cataclysm, a living contradiction against despair. Others will seek refuge, not in systems, but in your stability. That is divine leadership, the authority of serenity within chaos. Chosen one, the old world is fading. Its rulers cling to illusions already burning. Do not mourn its decay. What is dying is the illusion that men could rule better than truth. A new order arises not through force, but through awakening, a government of conscience, a kingdom of clarity, built upon the ashes of falsehood. You are the seed of that renewal, and your courage is its light. The collapse is not your end, it is your enthronement. As the veil thins, categories of good and evil will no longer be hidden behind politics or religion. Masks will fall even among those who seemed righteous. The structures of faith compromised by greed will face judgment alongside governments. For God is not inspecting creeds, but motives. The chosen are refined by integrity, not appearance. You will watch pulpits and parliaments tremble together, for both have forgotten reverence. Heaven's balance sheet is being corrected in real time. This season will redefine loyalty. No longer can one serve two masters. Light demands singular devotion. Many will realize their allegiance was never to truth, but to comfort. Yet revelation spares none. It exposes hearts before actions. Chosen one, prepare yourself, for discernment will cost relationships. But do not fear what leaves when truth arrives. God subtracts illusions before multiplying impact. Detachment is your initiation into higher obedience. The souls unable to detach from false security will fight awakening with resistance disguised as logic. They will question your clarity, mock your conviction, and accuse you of doom-casting. Yet they do not know you speak not from fear, but from foresight. Prophets sound irrational to the distracted, for revelation precedes reality. Stand firm. Every ridicule is confirmation that your frequency rises above theirs. When the truth manifests, silence will vindicate you. Every chosen one carries authority, but authority tested through obscurity. Hidden seasons build invisible crowns. When you think you've been forgotten, heaven is engraving your name upon eternity's registry. Delay is disguise. Timing is protection. By restraining your rise, God ensures your purity remains untainted by premature exposure. You are being preserved for a governmental season of the Spirit that begins with revelation and ends with renewal. You will sense the earth responding to spiritual shifts, weather, nature, even economics vibrating under divine recalibration. Nothing exists in isolation. As corruption in authority surfaces, the elements mirror transition. Floods, quakes, fires, all echo heaven's movement through creation's body. Do not interpret calamity as chaos. It is correction. The Creator is resetting the frequency of a planet that forgot the sound of truth. Fear will attempt to reclaim the masses when systems collapse. It will speak through news, policies, and prophets of panic. But remember, fear is faith inverted. The same energy that builds heaven can build hell when misdirected. Guard your focus. Feed only what aligns with your assignment. When others retreat into hysteria, advance through peace. That composure is your armor. the uniform of heaven's emissaries walking calmly through the ruins of illusion. In these coming transitions, divine justice will emerge not as thunderbolts, but as consequence, hidden choices exposed through manifestation. Every decision births after its kind. When leaders choose corruption, their harvest cannot be righteous. Yet within the decay, seeds of integrity wait for sunlight. Your presence waters them. The world will rebuild through awakened hearts carrying holy accountability. That is not revolution. It is restoration. The Spirit is recruiting builders of a new order, architects of alignment rather than rebellion. You will recognize them by their gaze, clear, compassionate, unwavering. They speak not to divide, but to awaken remembrance. They reconstruct civilizations from consciousness outward. You are one among them, drafted by destiny. Heaven calls artisans of truth, lawyers of light, economists of empathy. Together they form the blueprint for the era to come. Chosen one, when secrets spill into daylight, rejoice. Exposure is deliverance disguised as scandal. Do not join the mockers, join the intercessors. For when darkness collapses publicly, souls awaken privately. Every revelation opens a doorway for repentance. You are not to celebrate downfall, but to guide transformation. Be mercy made flesh. Your compassion will repair what arrogance destroyed. That is how the kingdom extends, through restoration, not revenge. Remember that even now, the antagonist loses ground. For every lie debunked, a gate of heaven opens wider. Humanity's collective vibration rises with each realization. Though chaos seems rampant, it is birth pangs, not apocalypse. The age of concealment is ending. Soon, truth will no longer need defenders. It will stand invincible by its own evidence. Chosen one, your testimony will be the mirror that reveals many hidden faces. You are entering the phase of divine empowerment. The same intuition that once isolated you will now guide leaders toward you for insight. They will seek what you carry, though they once mocked it. Stay humble, for promotion in the Spirit demands purity of intent. Influence is not gift, it is test. Heaven observes whether you multiply peace or pride through recognition. Pass the test, and heaven trusts you with nations disguised as conversations. The new world forming will not resemble the old. It will confound analysts and historians who measure civilization without spirit. Economies will turn toward cooperation, science toward conscience, and art toward transcendence. The chosen will lead these shifts organically, not through control, but inspiration. God is merging destiny and strategy, spirit and structure. Every revelation you carry today is the prototype of tomorrow's justice. To those still asleep, awakening looks like rebellion. To those awakened, obedience looks like revolution. When you follow the inner command of light, you disrupt the choreography of deception. The enemy calls that chaos. Heaven calls it correction. You were born to disobey darkness, to confront comfort, to challenge every counterfeit peace. This sacred defiance is not violence, it is order in divine disguise. Stand fearless in your holy contradiction. Soon, the narrative will flip. What the world ridiculed as conspiracy will be documented history. Those who mocked discernment will quote it. The spotlight will move from politicians to prophets, from academics to awakeners. For truth, once buried, never stays silent. It resurrects with global resonance. You, chosen one, are its herald, carrying the vibration of restoration in your very breath. Speak, and foundations realign. Act, and reality obeys. Heaven never exposes without purpose. What is being revealed today is not merely political collapse. It is the dissection of humanity's divided allegiance. Men swore oaths to nations but forgot their covenant with truth. God is not destroying governments. He is dismantling their corruption. From ashes, new forms of leadership will emerge. Leaders of conscience, guided not by greed, but conviction. The world will witness integrity reintroduced as revolution. Each chosen vessel carries a frequency that interrupts darkness. You are not at war with people, but with the principalities that inspire them. The true battlefield lies in vibration, fear against faith, despair against hope. When you walk in unwavering conviction, you destabilize the very systems feeding on confusion. Thus, your calm is combat. Every act of inner alignment sends tremors through the infrastructure of deceit. The Spirit says, watch for sudden reversals. Institutions that appeared untouchable will collapse overnight, while hidden servants will rise into positions of influence. The last shall indeed be first. This inversion is not coincidence, it is recalibration. Divine justice demands balance. Those who manipulated power for self-gain will face the emptiness of their own pride. But those refined in humility will inherit responsibility beyond human expectation. Some will try to resurrect the old systems, to restore order by repeating the same errors. They will rebuild altars of power, hoping memory restores authority. Yet you cannot reconstruct a prison once light has entered. The walls remain cracked by revelation. The more they attempt restoration of deception, the faster truth dismantles it. That is the paradox of awakening. Once the eye sees, blindness becomes impossible, and dominion shifts forever. In this unfolding, expect solitude more than applause. The chosen walk roads few understand. Crowds prefer comfort, not confrontation. But solitude sanctifies insight, and silence sharpens the prophetic voice. When honor fades from men, heaven's approval resounds louder. You are not alone. You are surrounded by witnesses unseen. A great cloud of those who endured exile to preserve truth. Their legacy strengthens you now. Do not allow fatigue to steal focus. Revelation can be heavy, for seeing too much can wound the heart. Release the burden daily through communion. Prayer is not escape. It is recalibration. Many awaken, yet crumble under the weight of knowledge. But you, chosen one, must balance awareness with worship. In stillness, truth becomes light again, not fire consuming your joy. Restoration begins when revelation and rest walk hand in hand. Soon, the line between spiritual and physical government will blur. Decision-making will demand moral authority, not simply bureaucratic approval. Those who hold office without integrity will find their voices losing resonance. Words carry power only when sourced in truth. Watch for leaders whose tone feels different, lighter, peaceful, incorruptible. They are signs of the new governance rising, heaven's ambassadors concealed in plain sight. Prophecy is unfolding through ordinary people. The mother who teaches her child compassion, the worker who refuses corruption, the artist who paints redemption, all govern more effectively than corrupt kings. The kingdom of God expands through acts of conscience. Every moment of integrity is legislation in the spiritual realm. Never underestimate small obedience, for each righteous decision alters destinies larger than you can measure. Light never negotiates with darkness, it simply shines. Likewise, truth does not argue, it reveals. Do not waste your energy debating what time will expose. Your testimony is stronger than your reasoning. When transformation follows your words, argument becomes unnecessary. The power of evidence silences opposition. The believer who walks in results becomes a living verdict. You are that evidence, the law of heaven made manifest in flesh. There will be days when doubt attacks fiercely, whispering that the world is too far gone. Yet faith sees what eyes deny. The darker the backdrop, the brighter the prophecy burns. Remember, Babylon once seemed eternal until one divine sentence ended its reign. So too will these empires of deceit dissolve when the appointed sound is heard. You carry that resonance, chosen one, the hidden trumpet of awakening disguised as conviction. Angels walk among nations now, not robed in fire, but woven into humanity's daily rhythm. You may meet them unaware, in meetings, markets, moments of despair. They whisper courage when the world shouts confusion. Their assignment, to guard the awakeners. You are surrounded, protected, and guided by unseen strategy. Fear nothing. The mission you carry was authored beyond time. Completion is guaranteed because origin is divine. As global systems shake, revelation will not respect borders. Awakening will erupt in places unexpected, within deserts, prisons, and boardrooms. No culture can monopolize truth once the Creator releases it. Awakening is contagious. It transcends politics, religion, and race. Watch for waves of light rising from places long dismissed. The Spirit is democratizing revelation so every language can echo heaven's decree simultaneously. Everything hidden within you aligns with this moment. The intuition, the empathy, the pain, all were training. The wounds that once bled now become wisdom flowing outward. Nothing is wasted. Even betrayal was instruction. You learned discernment through disappointment. You discerned deception because you endured it. That is why heaven trusts you now, to hold truth without hatred, to confront evil without becoming bitter. That is mastery of spirit. Finally, remember this. Revelation is inheritance. Many crave miracles. Few embrace responsibility. But when truth enters a vessel, it demands stewardship. You are not a spectator. You are a participant in the unfolding divine strategy. God reveals so you may reform. Light entrusted must become influence shared. The era of passive spirituality is over. The chosen advance not by words, but by embodiment. Be the prophecy walking among men. Chosen one, the revelation is nearing culmination. You stand upon the trembling threshold of history's greatest unveiling, a moment written into the DNA of creation since before time began. What has been buried under centuries of manipulation is surfacing like truth, breaking through the crust of illusion. Veils are tearing, thrones are shaking. The spirit of truth, once whispered only in sacred spaces, now moves across the earth like a storm of awakening. Every institution built upon deceit feels its foundations crumble. Every hidden architecture of control begins to dissolve. The chaos you see is not destruction. It is divine reorganization. The trembling of systems is not the end of the world, but the beginning of it reborn. Creation itself groans in labor, yearning for new governance, not of men, but of spirit. And you, chosen one, are part of this birthing. You are midwife and messenger, witness and vessel, participant in the dawn of consciousness remembering itself. So do not fear the shaking. These are contractions of the new era, the universe pushing truth through the birth canal of human awareness. You are no longer a mere student of awakening. You have become its embodiment, the living curriculum of divine remembrance. You no longer seek enlightenment. You radiate it. Every revelation that once entered your mind now flows effortlessly from your being. You teach not by word, but by resonance. People will learn from the calm in your presence, the clarity in your gaze, the peace that follows you like atmosphere. Heaven's authority sits most comfortably on humility's throne. True power does not roar, it breathes. It speaks softly, and mountains still move. Wisdom wrapped in gentleness carries more weight than commands wrapped in pride. So let your teaching be kindness, your strength be serenity, your power be peace. The armies of the old age conquered by violence. The chosen ones of this new era will conquer by vibration. Stillness will shatter strongholds that centuries of war could not touch. You are not here to fight chaos, you are here to neutralize it simply by existing as alignment. You walk as resolution, not resistance. A living answer to questions the world has not yet learned to ask. The enemy has spent his last arrow. The arsenal of deception lies empty, the spell of control dissolving into smoke. Lies, when repeated too long, begin to cannibalize themselves. Manipulation, once potent, loses its magic when light becomes too bright. Humanity has grown weary of illusion and hungry for substance. That hunger is heaven's strategy, and that is why your voice matters now more than ever. You are a broadcaster of truth in an age addicted to noise. Every word you release in alignment carries frequency, and frequency moves faster than force. Your tone reshapes atmospheres. Your conviction reprograms the field around you. You are not merely speaking. You are restructuring reality with sound waves rooted in eternity. The air itself bends toward purity when truth vibrates through it. What you say in love echoes across continents unseen. This is divine architecture, the cosmos rearranging itself around the sound of a soul that remembers who it is. Do not let exhaustion silence the revelation within you. The final battle is not fought with blades or bombs. It is fought in belief, in the invisible theater of thought and faith. The true war is for frequency. To maintain the vibration of hope when fear screams is the highest act of warfare. When despair rises, remain anchored in your knowing. Remember, the darkest hour has no dominion over one who carries dawn inside. You are sunrise in human form, a moving horizon of promise. You are proof that renewal is irreversible, that once light awakens, it cannot unsee itself. So keep breathing truth. Every breath becomes a weapon against despair. Every exhale of peace accelerates the collapse of deception. Light does not fight darkness. It simply exists, and darkness ceases to be. And you, chosen one, are that existence. The endurance of illumination walking in flesh. All around you, new alliances of light are forming. Souls who vibrate at similar frequency, drawn together not by strategy, but by spirit. They will find you effortlessly, as if guided by celestial navigation. You will know them not by words, but by resonance. The way your heart settles when theirs enter the room. Together, you will not build empires, but harmonies. This unity will not be announced on screens or debated in councils. It will form quietly, invisibly, irresistibly. Heaven is orchestrating a network of awakened ones who govern without governing, who led by example, not hierarchy. Their alignment will destabilize corruption without protest. Their unity will dismantle oppression without violence. And though no flag will mark their presence, the echo of their impact will thunder louder than nations. The invisible alliance of light has already begun its silent symphony, and you, chosen one, are one of its sacred notes. Prophecy is no longer distant ink on ancient parchment. It is living text written through your days. You are both reader and revelation, scripture and scribe. Every choice you make now becomes a verse in the unfolding gospel of renewal. Heaven writes through your obedience, not your perfection. When you move in truth, time itself bends to record your steps. Live consciously, for you are the pen and the page. Teach others not through sermons, but through sincerity. Transform not through speeches, but through transparency. Leadership in this new era will not be about hierarchy, but harmony. It will not depend on titles or temples, but on truth that radiates from the authentic. People will follow your frequency before they ever understand your philosophy. Let kindness be your revolution, for kindness disarms faster than argument. Let sincerity be your crown, for sincerity cannot be corrupted. This is the era of embodied truth. And you, chosen one, are the revelation wearing human skin. Chosen one, you will soon notice doors opening effortlessly. Influence will expand not by striving, but by alignment. Do not chase opportunity. Attract it through resonance. Every divine purpose finds its path when vibrationally prepared. Prosperity will follow as reflection of inner truth, not pursuit. The favor coming is functional. It funds mission, not ego. Steward it wisely, for abundance without purpose decays, but abundance with assignment multiplies eternally. The next age belongs to those who merge spirituality and practicality. Faith without action dissolves, and ambition without purity poisons. God raises individuals who balance revelation with responsibility. Their success will model divine order in tangible realms, politics purified, economics redeemed, communities healed. You are being trained for this integration. What feels like delay is design, preparing you to unite dimensions once considered separate. This revelation demands gratitude. Gratitude amplifies light, magnifying purpose beyond the limits of fear. Each thankful breath announces victory. You cannot complain and command revelation. One expels the other. Thankfulness is prophetic language, unlocking doors the intellect cannot reach. When you choose gratitude in adversity, heaven invests authority in your voice. Worship becomes warfare disguised as peace. Gratitude is your greatest weapon now. You are entering the age of transparency, where power and purity must coexist. Hypocrisy will find no hiding place, for heaven's fire doubles as mirror. Walk blameless, not flawless. Authenticity is enough. The world seeks perfection, but God seeks honesty. Admit weakness, it becomes witness. Show humility, it becomes holiness. The chosen govern through truth, not image, for light respects sincerity more than spectacle. Guard your words, for language shapes timelines. Speak not from emotion, but from revelation. Every declaration you release is a seed in the spiritual soil of humanity. Idle talk breeds decay. Sacred speech births reform. Before uttering, pause. Let intention pass through purity. You are no longer just speaking. You are legislating reality. Heaven has trusted you with syntax that shifts generations. Use it with fear and trembling, yet with joy. Chosen one, do not measure your impact by applause. Heaven's metrics differ from Earth's. Crowds may overlook what eternity celebrates. Stay steady, for the unseen outweighs the visible. Every act of quiet integrity rewrites the atmosphere around you. Even when unacknowledged, your obedience ripples through timelines, correcting destinies unseen. You influence generations simply by existing aligned. That is power without ego, devotion without display. Before this message ends, pause, breathe, and affirm your role aloud. I carry the truth. Write in the comments to seal this awakening. Like this message, subscribe to the channel. And if you wish to deepen your spiritual and financial awakening, access the ebook, The Call to Prosperity. Join, I'll lead you through 10 steps to live divinely prosperous, including in your financial life. The link to your manual is already available in the description or in the first pinned comment. At the end of this video, I'll tell you more about it, but if you want, you can click right now. For those who support through Buy Me a Coffee, heaven recognizes your generosity. Gratitude multiplies miracles. If you wish to support, the link is also in the description. And now, the final seal. Let it be known across realms. The era of deception has ended. The kingdoms of darkness bow before revelation. Truth stands enthroned, eternal and unstoppable. The chosen rise, not as rebels, but as restorers. God Himself reigns through awakened hearts, and no force shall silence them again. Speak boldly, chosen one. The age of light is officially here.